latest news in North Central Washington, go to ncwlife.com or find us on Facebook. Got a news tip? Email us at news@ncwlife.com or call 888-2020.
It's time for NCW Life News on the NCW Life channel. The latest from the Wenatchee Valley and North Central Washington with Steve Hare, Grant Olson, and sports with Eric Granstrom.
Good Wednesday evening and welcome to NCW Life News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window. And as we look down from our Wenatchee Heights Sky-Fi camera, what a beautiful fall day around North Central Washington once again. High and mid-level clouds around parts of our region today, but for the most part, light winds and very mild temperatures, mainly into the middle 60s. But what everybody's talking about recently, cold mornings. And we saw it this morning in Wenatchee at 41 degrees, but that's a lot warmer than some of our area cities. Omak was at 32 this morning. Off to our east, Spokane checked in at 35. So make sure you do cover up that sensitive vegetation over the next few nights, and I'll tell you more in our weather forecast coming up a little bit later on. Also, for those watching on our Facebook, tune in to LocalTel Channel 12 or Charter Channel 19, or you can stream us live at ncwlife.com for the full evening newscast. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. East Wenatchee police continue to investigate the tragic death of an East Wenatchee toddler on Tuesday. Lighthouse Ministries incites competition between community leaders for its annual Night in a Box event. And Taste Wenatchee Day brought local foods to school cafeterias today. Later on, we'll have sports, your weather forecast, and our feature story today. But first, a judge has delayed a sentencing hearing for Dawn Souls. She's the woman convicted as an accomplice in the 1984 murder of her ex-husband, Stephen Smith of Cashmere. Souls appeared in Chelan County Superior Court this morning. Souls is the former wife of Bernard Swaim, who was originally charged with first-degree murder, but was found not guilty at his trial in August. Souls was also charged with rendering criminal assistance in Smith's murder, but testified against Swaim as the prosecution's star witness. Witnesses for the defense discredited her testimony, and she subsequently changed her plea to guilty after Swaim was acquitted. During this morning's hearing, there was disagreement between defense attorney Keith Howard and prosecutor Doug Shea over the court's sentencing options. Judge Leslie Allen ordered both attorneys to submit written briefs, and sentencing was postponed until tomorrow at 2 p.m. No new information today as the investigation continues into the death of an 18-month-old child who died Tuesday after being run over by a car in the East Wenatchee area. Douglas County Sheriff Harvey Jesdahl confirms the death that occurred near a residence on Northwest Empire Street. Jesdahl says more information will become available when the investigation is completed. Organizers say this year's Night in a Box event, sponsored by the Wenatchee Lighthouse Christian Ministries, will prompt even more community support for the homeless. This year, the group has recruited several community leaders to spearhead a competitive fundraising drive to help pay for the variety of services offered through the ministry. Members of this year's organizational corporate challenge competitors were introduced at a news conference yesterday. Among them, John Brissot, pastor with the Living Room.
I will say without doubt that I love the Lighthouse. I have never seen a ministry that is so kingdom focused and has impacted valley-wide like that ministry. And I know this community wants to serve. I know this community wants to give, but sometimes it's hard to know, am I giving and am I being a good steward of my giving by the organization I give it to? How do I know that it's being used for the purpose that it said it's going to? And I'll tell you without a doubt that every dollar given to this organization is exponentially creating influence and fruit around our valley. So that's why I want to be part of this. I want to challenge others to get involved with it because it is a worthwhile investment.
Pastor Brissot was joined at Tuesday's news conference by Chelan County Sheriff Brian Burnett, attorney Andrew Kottkamp, Apple Blossom Festival Administrator Darcy Christofferson, Bart Tilley, Kay Coldy, pastor of Sage Hills Ministry, and Doug Milner with Fibonacci Smile. This year's Night in a Box event is slated for November 17th in the parking lot of Encouraging Words Bookstore. The 15th annual Wings and Wheels Festival kicks off tomorrow at Eastmont Community Park in East Wenatchee. Since 2002, the event has featured a vendor craft and food fair, dance, pancake breakfast, airplane and glider rides, motorcycle show, and live entertainment. The festival also features a Friday night car cruise along Eastmont Avenue in East Wenatchee and a car show on Saturday at Eastmont Park. Davis Show's Northwest Carnival will also be on hand with rides open from 4 p.m. until close on Thursday and Friday, and then noon to close on both Saturday and Sunday. Festival goers can purchase a $25 wristband for carnival rides on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Coming up, Taste Washington Day brings local foods to school cafeterias. Police officers participate in the Coffee with Cops event at Pybus, and a candidate forum takes over Newberry Elementary tonight. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching NCW Life News.
Travel enhances your life in every way. Let the travel professionals at Journey Travel and Tours help you plan that dream vacation. Don't leave the important details to those nameless, faceless online agencies. At Journey Travel and Tours, our goal is to build relationships that last a lifetime. And when you do need help, we have a 24-hour helpline that is routed to one of the agents in our office. When you think travel, think Journey Travel and Tours. It's where your journey begins. Like us on Facebook, and you could be one of our monthly winners.
Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house, featuring great family dining in downtown Chelan. We've got burgers, pub fare, and the best barbecue around. Try one of our award-winning sauces made fresh here in-house. So grab the whole gang and come on down. Stormy Mountain Brewing. Beer, barbecue, friends, and beer.
Earlier today at Pybus Market in Wenatchee, the third annual Coffee with a Cop event was held. The event provides law enforcement from around the region a fun way to interact with the community in which they serve. Captain Edgar Reinfeld with the Wenatchee Police Department says events like Coffee with a Cop have a positive impact on our area residents in many ways.
So Coffee with a Cop is a national program that we carry on here as well. This is actually our second event this year. The idea is we go to a common public place, not our station, not some school, not something like that, someplace with coffee or similar, first of all. But second, for folks to just come out, meet with us, ask us the questions they have in an environment that's a completely open public place. So instead of calling the police and then trying to get your issues figured out or get the answers to the questions you have, come down here, we're here to talk to you, meet you, say hi, and ensuring that we are not viewed as something outside the community. We are part of the community. We're all in this together. We all got to take care of each other. We all have to work together to accomplish anything we do. We as a police department cannot accomplish anything without citizens, first of all, telling us what's happening, but at the same time, talking with us and helping us work to solve problems. The police can rarely solve a problem. The community can usually do a much better job of solving it. We just can be a catalyst and mediator to get that going. Just the important thing is come on down, come see us. When we host these events, like I said, this is the second one this year. We've never done more than one in a year before. We may grow it to more than that. Today is National Coffee with a Cop Day, one of several this year, and other agencies around the state. Yakima did theirs at 7 o'clock this morning. City of Boise in Idaho's got one going today, if not 4. Boise's a little bit larger and really engages us fully. When these opportunities are out there, come see us. And the biggest thing, when you see us out and about, you got a question, come ask us. Don't be afraid to approach an officer and say, hey, I got a question.
For the 7th year in a row, the Washington State Department of Agriculture and the Washington State Nutrition Association partnered with farmers and schools to feature Washington-grown foods in school cafeteria meals. Wenatchee High School students were treated to Italian food with items from Geber's Beef of Okanagan, as well as Smithson and Magana Farms. Food Services Manager Valerie Gray says Taste Washington isn't limited to one day. She says the school district's contracts with the local agriculture community to work together to provide healthy school meals throughout the school year. The U.S. Department of Agriculture estimates schools in our state spend more than $17 million a year on Washington-grown foods. Newberry Elementary School is the venue for tonight's political forum. The 5 candidates who are competing for 3 open Wenatchee School District board seats have been invited to attend. The forum starts at 7 p.m. and it's sponsored by the Newberry PTA. Participating candidates are Position 3 incumbent Claudia de Robles and her challenger, Sonny Hemphill. Position 4 candidate Michelle Sandberg, who is running unopposed, and Position 4 incumbent Jennifer Talbot and her opponent, Sarah Knox. Legislation to add more transparency to the Federal Endangered Species Act advances in Congress. The legislation, sponsored by the 4th District Congressman Dan Newhouse, ensures the use of sound science and that state and local stakeholders are given access to data used in listing decisions. Congressman Newhouse commented on the bill in testimony before the House Natural Resources Committee in July. He cited grizzly bears and gray wolves as examples of how the ESA needs to be changed.
Just this year, the National Park Service, as well as Fish and Wildlife, released a draft plan to reintroduce in the North Cascades ecosystem the grizzly bear. Both agencies claim the bears will be joining an existing grizzly population. However, the last confirmed sighting of the grizzly bear in that area was in 1996. The people living in these communities deserve to know what data the federal agencies are basing their decisions on. I have expressed my deep concerns regarding the lack of sound science and data to support this decision and will continue to do so. The case of the gray wolf also comes to mind. The Department of Interior and the Fish and Wildlife Service published a proposed rule that would remove the gray wolf's listing over 4 years ago, and even found the best available science and commercial information indicates that the currently listed entity is not a valid species under the Act. Yet the wolf remains listed. The gray wolf is found in nearly 50 countries around the world and has grown substantially across its range. I can attest to that. I will continue to be a firm advocate of delisting the gray wolf and returning its management to the states. On a final note, Mr.
Newhouse's legislation would update the Endangered Species Act by requiring federal agencies to make data used for ESA decisions publicly available on the internet. It would also ensure the proper use of taxpayer funds by putting a cap on attorneys' fees. You're watching NCW Life News. Coming up next, your sports update, followed by today's feature story. That and much more still to come on NCW Life News. Stay with us.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Having a relationship with your pediatrician is so important. Feeling that sense of trust, that is priceless. I tell everybody about CBCH. I love it there. When I make an appointment, I don't have to take an entire day off. As a working mom, my life is really busy. Family time is everything. That's what we all work towards. And I feel like CBCH respects that.
At Doghouse Motorsports, we ride what we sell. There's a lot we could say about the CD Spark and the CD GTI, but ultimately, the ride says it all.
And now it's a sports update on the NCW Life channel.
And a happy hump day. Let's take a look at the Les Schwab Prep scoreboard from last night. In soccer, Eastmont raced out to a 4-0 halftime lead, went on to shut out visiting Eisenhower 6-0 at Wildcat Stadium. I was alongside Matt Wiesen for the call here on the NCW Life channel.
I can tell you right now, I'm going to have a hard time seeing the numbers for the cadets here. Here's a shot on goal, goes between the legs, and it's in for Eastmont. Look at the speed on the far side there for Eastmont. Crossing, it's loose off the goal, and it is in. Should be counted as a goal for the Wildcats. Over there for Eastmont, Ellie Goulet feeds it back in the corner. Here's a cross, and it's off the fingers again. It goes in. There. And Wildcats, Lexi Heimbigner. Now a cross, and it's in for the goal. Following it for the Wildcats was Ellie Goulet. A goal, Eastmont, and they're up 4-0. Miller chips it ahead for Maddie Chandler. Maddie on the attack. Crosses, and it's out in front. Follow, and a goal. Beautiful job by Conarek. And the hat trick tonight for Alyssa. From the get-go, as they scored a minute 35 in. There's a chance for Rookard. Kicks it to herself. Crosses, goal in. Beautiful play for Eastmont by Peyton Rookard. That's going to do it. So how about the Eastmont Wildcats? They win it tonight by a final of 6-0.
So Eastmont with a big win last night. Meanwhile, Wenatchee had a non-league tilt on the pitch and won its 7th game in a row down in Cashmere, 4-1 with goals by Ashley Turner, Jaden Griggs, Greta Wiersma, and Ariana Escobedo. Also last night, it was Okanagan edging Chelan by a final of 3-2. Cascade all over Omak. That's not a misprint there. 15-0 final as Cascade gets the victory. Also on the volleyball courts last night, the Eastmont Wildcats were down on the road in Yakima. Once they finally got there, their bus broke down. They had to get some help from Quincy to get there. Once they did, they won the first game by a score of 26-24 and then went on to cruise, downing Eisenhower 25-17 and 25-15 to sweep all 3 games. Also last night in Caribou Trail League, it was the Omak Pioneers hosting Cascade. Kodiak's no trouble, 25-13, 9, and 17, the victory last night. Meanwhile, Chelan was taking on Okanagan in a battle of the Bulldogs and the Goats, and it was Chelan coming out on top, 25-15, 12, and 18. The Etiot Lady Tigers trying to continue their B dominance over Wilson Creek last night. Were able to get the victory, 25-19, 9, and 16. Meanwhile, the Waterville Mansfield Colonels and Shockers having a tough season so far in volleyball, falling to Brewster last night, to the Bears getting the win 25-13, 7, and 10. Turning to baseball, first inning took nearly an hour to play as balls were flying out of Yankee Stadium last night. Neither starting pitcher got out of the first 2 innings, and by the 4th inning, things were pretty much decided as the Yankees beat the Minnesota Twins 8-4 in the American League wildcard game last night. At Yankee Stadium, the Twins' Brian Dozier became the first player in Major League history to lead off the ball game with a home run. Eddie Rosario followed with a 2-run shot to Minnesota chased New York starter Luis Severino after just a third of an inning. But the Yankees came right back in its half of the first on a 3-run homer by Diddy Gregorius. Brett Gardner homered in the second to give New York a 4-3 lead, but back came the Twins. Bases loaded RBI fielder's choice by Byron Buxton in the third. That tied it at 4. Yankees played add-on from there as Greg Bird singled home Gary Sanchez in the third. Aaron Judge hit his first playoff home run in the 4th, and that would be the final. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Eric. Our feature for today answers the trivia question, what is the smallest Washington state park? Its name might surprise you.
Here we are in the Kettle River Valley, one of the most beautiful locations of our state. And on this knoll overlooking the valley is the gravesite of Ranald McDonald. McDonald was the son of a Hudson Bay Company explorer and an Indian princess, born at Fort George at the mouth of the Columbia River. He was well educated. He became interested in the Pacific Ocean and the sea, and he took a job on a whaling ship. And while they were whaling off the coast of Japan, he wanted to learn more and more about Japan, and he asked this captain to let him go ashore. Japan was closed at the time, and he risked his life in doing this, but he took a small boat and rowed ashore. He actually capsized the boat partially so the Japanese would think he was in distress. When he got into the shore and was captured by the Japanese, he began to teach them English. And he's now today considered the first English teacher in Japan. Many Japanese visitors come here to this site every year to see his grave and pay their respects. It's an incredible story and one of those that make this one of my most favorite places.
Support for My Favorite Places is provided by the Washington Hospitality Association and by Weatherly Inn, senior living where it's home and your family.
We'll be back in just a moment with a recap of some of today's stories and your complete local weather forecast right after this.
Wenatchee Valley College is now offering four-year degrees. The need for engineering technologists is rapidly growing, and the new Bachelor of Applied Science in Engineering Technology is designed to meet the needs of local employers. Students with an associate degree can complete the program in only 2 or 3 years. Don't wait! The program is accepting just 20 students for fall quarter. Apply now at wvc.edu/engineeringtech.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills in Manson. It's blueberry picking season and King 5 named us the second best destination restaurant in Washington State. So toss the family in the cruiser and get on out to Blueberry Hills for the best down-home scratch country cooking you've had in years. And don't forget our award-winning pies. We're fun, family-friendly, and a delicious destination year-round. We're open every day from 8 to 3, serving breakfast and lunch all day. So come on out to Blueberry Hills.
Welcome back, and now a recap of our top stories. A judge has delayed a sentencing hearing for Dawn Souls. She's the woman convicted as an accomplice in the 1984 murder of her ex-husband, Stephen Smith of Kashmir. Souls appeared in Chelan County Superior Court this morning. Souls is the former wife of Bernard Swaim, who was originally charged with first-degree murder but was found not guilty at his trial in August. Souls was also charged with rendering criminal assistance in Smith's murder, but testified against Swaim as the prosecution's star witness. Witnesses for the defense discredited her testimony, and she subsequently changed her plea to guilty after Swaim was acquitted. During this morning's hearing, there was disagreement between defense attorney Keith Howard and prosecutor Doug Shea over the court's sentencing options. Judge Leslie Allen ordered both attorneys to submit written briefs, and sentencing was postponed until Thursday at 2 p.m. No new information today as the investigation continues into the death of an 18-month-old child who died Tuesday after being run over by a car in the East Wenatchee area. Douglas County Sheriff Harvey Jesdahl confirms the death that occurred near a residence on Northwest Empire Street. Jesdahl says more information will become available when the investigation is completed. The 15th annual Wings and Wheels Festival kicks off tomorrow at Eastmont Community Park in East Wenatchee. Since 2002, the event has featured a vendor craft and food fair, dance, pancake breakfast, airplane and glider rides, motorcycle show, and live entertainment. The festival also features a Friday night car cruise along Eastmont Avenue in East Wenatchee and a car show on Saturday at Eastmont Park. Davis Show's Northwest Carnival will also be on hand with rides open from 4 p.m. until close on Thursday and Friday and noon to close on both Saturday and Sunday. Festival goers can purchase a $25 wristband for carnival rides on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Organizers say this year's Night in a Box event, sponsored by the Wenatchee Lighthouse Christian Ministries, will prompt even more community support for the homeless. This year, the group has recruited several community leaders to spearhead a competitive fundraising drive to help pay for the variety of services offered through the ministry. Members of this year's organizational corporate challenge competitors were introduced at a news conference yesterday. Among them, John Brissot, pastor with the Living Room.
I will say without doubt that I love the Lighthouse. I have never seen a ministry that is so kingdom focused and has impacted valley-wide like that ministry. And I know this community wants to serve. I know this community wants to give. But sometimes it's hard to know, am I giving, and am I being a good steward of my giving by the organization I give it to? How do I know that it's being used for the purpose that it said it's going to? And I'll tell you without a doubt that every dollar given to this organization is exponentially creating influence and fruit around our valley. So that's why I want to be part of this. I want to challenge others to get involved with it because it is a worthwhile investment.
Pastor Broussard was joined at Tuesday's news conference by Chelan County Sheriff Brian Burnett, Attorney Andrew Kottkamp, Apple Blossom Festival Administrator Darcy Christofferson, Bart Tilley, Kay Coldy, pastor of Sage Hills Ministry, and Doug Milner with Fibonacci Smile. This year's Night in a Box events is slated for November 17th in the parking lot of Encouraging Words Bookstore. And now your weather forecast for north central Washington. But before we get to those details, let's take a look outside our weather window at a gorgeous early fall day once again out there with a few high and mid-level clouds around north central Washington. Still a little bit of haze present as well from prescribed burns happening around our area. But all in all, temperatures in the mid-60s with light winds. It was a beautiful day. Let's take a look at our satellite loop, and a band of high clouds, as I mentioned, developed off and on today around north central Washington, mainly as you can see coming in from southern British Columbia. That was along a weak weather system moving through Idaho. 5 areas of high pressure over the western third of the country dot our weather map tonight, and that's ushering in a dry weather pattern for much of the work week with mild days and chilly nights. As the cold front off the Pacific Northwest coast moves inland, the weather will likely turn windy and cooler by Saturday, with mountain showers also a possibility. That will be Friday night through the weekend. We could see wind speeds around 15 to 25 miles per hour on Saturday with locally higher gusts. Winds will taper off on Sunday, and very quiet weather returns to our area throughout most of next week, and high temperatures around normal for this time of year, and chilly to even cold overnight low temperatures. So here's a look at that forecast now, and we will see temperatures tonight with a few clouds around, not as cold as this morning, about 46 overnight tonight. Should climb all the way to 72 for Thursday, 74 on Friday before we cool down with wind on Saturday, and we'll stay in the mid-60s for next week with lots of sun, light winds, and cool overnight low temperatures. Our video of the day as we close our newscast tonight comes from our very own Eric Granstrom, who stopped along U.S. Highway 2 west of Leavenworth yesterday to film the sockeye salmon returning to the Tumwater Canyon to spawn. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around north central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.
This has been NCW Life News on the NCW Life channel. For more news, log on to ncwlife.com, like us on Facebook, and follow NCW Life channel on Twitter.
I gotta tell you, I'm nervous.
Selling your home, it's a big step.
Can we find the right buyer in this market?
Look at our website. When someone looks at your home, I can tell how ready they are to buy. See that number? The closer it is to 100, the closer they are to buying. So, I know who to zero in on.
So you have a secret weapon.
You mean we have a secret weapon.
I like that. Oh, what do you think of the wallpaper?
I love that touch.
Lake Chelan mailboxes find solutions and the best price for all your shipping needs, including UPS, FedEx, and the U.S. Postal Service. We offer a variety of services including quality copies of all sizes, faxing, scanning, sending and receiving email, laminating, and notarizing. Enjoy browsing through our large selection of greeting cards. Lake Chelan Mailboxes supports our military, fire victims, and our community. Come see us at the Plaza in Lake Chelan.